We're going to be solo, but we're going to continue the same fortress we've been working on since it's going pretty well. Also, I want to respond to all the people who are suggesting that I play the Masterwork mod for Dwarf Fortress. It is an excellent, impeccable mod, very, very well put together. I don't tend to do videos for that many mods because a lot of people sort of want the vanilla experience, but we might make a video for Masterwork at some point. I just want to put a shout out there for it, the Masterwork Dwarf Fortress mod. You can Google it, and it's very, very good. So let's unpause, and I mean, most of the things are going okay. As I recalled last time, we ended up with a trade, so now we're mostly unloading and reloading some of the trade stuff that's going on there. One of the other things I wanted to address that people reminded me of in the newer versions of Dwarf Fortress, the debris left behind, the stone work left behind by miners is... we don't really care about this. It's just a flat, apparently 25% chance to leave stone behind, and it really depends on the type of stone that you're digging through. So it's not affected by the miner's skill at all. It's not a very significant change, but it's there. Ooh, we've discovered our first thief. But it does make a difference if you were trying to like save certain minerals for later, for when your dwarves are more experienced. It's not very important anymore. So we've got a kobold thief has been discovered, and actually, this is a good segue into starting to talk about our defenses. Now, thieves and snatchers and things, when they get detected, which happens when they move adjacent to someone, generally speaking, they will usually just turn around and run at that point. So this guy, this thief should just run away. And this outpost liaison, actually, this is not our guy, so they might actually engage in conflict. Our people, because they weren't set to military, should just run away from these guys, but thieves should, like, again, just try to escape at this point. In fact, that's what happened. What did what got left here? Is it a crossbow bolt? Oh, rhino lizard remains. So yeah, I think they're just gonna escape there. But we, cancels drink interrupted by kobold thief. Where was that? Here. The thief shouldn't be anywhere nearby. Oh no, look! What the hell? Maybe we will activate our military and make sure to beat him up. That seems like a good idea. Now, I don't remember. Oh, we do have a squad set up. I'm going to go ahead and fill it up, because why not, right? The Weaver and the Engraver guy. I mean, we still have the problem where we don't really have much in the way of weapons, but we may as well go after these guys. So I'm going to hit S, hit A to select the Stone Wombats, because what a great name, K to attack, and then I'm going to select the Kobold Thief over here, target him. So now all of them should activate, presumably arm themselves, and go out and go a-killing. The dogs have aggroed on him too, which is pretty cool because they're not even war dogs. Let's take a look here. No, I want the war report. So the best thing to do is probably to select the Kobold Thief to get that properly. So it looks like, oh man, our dogs are really doing a good job there. Grabbing him on the leg, latching on firmly. We have our Mace Dwarf, or a Mace Dwarf. Is it one of our guys who's the Mace Dwarf? It scratches him in the upper body, bruising the muscle. Axe Dwarf releases the grip on the Axe Dwarf's left lower arm on the Kobold Thief's head. So our Axe Dwarf actually grabbed him on the head as well. So there's some stabs at the Kobold Thief. I just wanted to make sure that the Kobold Thief's not really hitting any of our guys back. At a glance, it doesn't seem to be happening. Now, some of the guys who might be fighting here might be the people with the trade caravan, which is very, very nice. Oh, and we've killed him already. Was he really dead at the end there? This should be the most recent announcements down at the bottom. I don't actually see a reference to him dying. But that has definitely happened. Wow, okay, very effective work, guys. Stone Wombat's good, you guys have been cancelled. We still have to talk about military sort of properly at some point, but the untrained military seems to be doing a pretty good job for now. Now, of course, thieves are not particularly powerful foes, so we have a mutilated corpse and a detached right upper arm. And copper daggers and things. Now, I believe these are currently set. You see the curly braces around the names that I'm toggling back and forth right now? That indicates that those items are forbidden by default. You can see down here there's a F key for claim. If I toggle it once, it'll go to forbid. So normally generic items in the game are claimable. So for example, if I move my cursor over here, there's the two-legged rhino lizard remains. I can hit F to forbid it, and that will prevent any dwarves from accessing that piece of gear. Now, it doesn't matter much for the remains, but it's pretty important for things that fall off of people who die in combat. By default, they're set to forbidden. And the reason for that is you don't want your dwarves to detect some object that's been dropped in the middle of combat and be like, oh, I have to store this thing in a stockpile. So they run out into the middle of a battle to, retrieve the spider silk loincloth, for example. You don't want them to do that in the middle of a giant war. So by default, everything that falls off of someone who dies is set to forbid. But then if you want to claim it later, you just go to it, and I'm using the K key to do my looking. I'm going over here, the large copper dagger is selected, and that's where I'm hitting the F to toggle the forbid or claim, and then I can use the plus key to scroll down and make sure that everything has been claimed at that point. This corpse and upper arm, I don't know if it's butcherable. I don't think it is by default, but because it's not an animal. Still, we can give it a task and see. I'm pretty sure you can't butcher it. I'm pretty sure he's just going to get moved if we have a graveyard, which we don't. And we might want to use a graveyard for the goblin corpses, but I don't know if it's the end of the world. Okay, so now that we know that there's these thieves that can go in, and normally they're stealthed, you can only see them if they walk adjacent to someone. The best, most common way to set a defense up at the entrance of your fortress to detect these sneaky fellows is to put a couple of guard dogs in here. And what you do is, let's go see. We can hit B for build. I believe the hotkey is V. Yeah, V is your restraints. Chains are also ropes. And what you can do is you can put one here, because what happens, anything that's attached to a chain can walk in any of the tiles adjacent to it. So what you do is you put one chain here, for example, and then the thing attached to that can either walk on this very tile, or the one above it, or here, or here, or here, or here. And that way it forces, so usually what you do is you tie a dog up to this chain. It couldn't be any kind of animal, actually, but often, just thematically, I would use guard dogs. So it guarantees that a rogue, a thief, cannot walk through either of these two tiles, because no matter what, they will be adjacent to the thing that's tied up. It is possible for them to sneak over on this column here, assuming the thing that's tied up happens to be in the rightmost tile at that point. That's why I will, if it's a 3-tile wide hallway like this, I will just tie them up in pairs. I'll have one dog here and one dog here, which is what I will do, because I have enough ropes. So I will get a pair of ropes over here. So we'll get some dwarf to come out there and install the rope, and then I'm just going to leash a couple of dogs onto these. And that will be a pretty good security for the temple, or the fortress itself, right? It'll be very well defended there. But I definitely want to get around to building a proper training center at some point really soon. Get the military going. Plus, armor and things would be pretty good too. Now, right, everything is frozen. We have a decent amount of trees, but did we not hit peat? Or am I thinking of another? Yeah, I'm thinking of another fortress that I played recently that had a bunch of peat. It would be really nice if we get some fuel for our furnaces. So we can use wood for that. Now, my little exploratory tunnels, do they go all the way over here? They do. Just because I'm wondering if there's another biome under this clay. Or not another biome, just another source of goods. Sometimes there's some peat just slightly below this. And you can burn that for fuel. Or again, am I thinking of the Masterwork mod? I don't think so. How are we doing? We've got lots of food, lots of drinks. Excellent. I just saw a bunch of blue downward pointing arrows, which means people are thirsty, but it seems to be that they're drinking just fine. Cancel the job of planting, but that's fine. We do have a functional farm going on, and some barrels inexplicably set up there. We've got our little tunnels that are being dug out every other level. Is this gold? Yeah, it is gold. Wow. So gold's not a terribly useful metal, but it's pretty valuable. We got more of it there, too. Huh. I'm going to keep doing these little tunnels here all the way across every other level, just to see what we can uncover. Now, technically, what minerals are available varies depending on sort of grossly what layer you're on in your, I don't know, in your terrain. right? So the first few levels can contain certain types of minerals, and then the next few different ones, and so on. Still combat? So the newest report is at the top. Does that work the same way here? I didn't think so. I think the newest report is at the bottom. I still have the smoothing job set up there. You can see how nice the walls start to look. Once you've got them smoothed out here, these start to look pretty sexy. Especially once you've got a lot of rooms going on, I find that you can come out with some pretty interesting layouts. Now, ideally, what we should really start to do is make something nice a little further down. But, I don't know, for simplicity, we might just leave a lot of our fortress pretty close to the surface. Starting to build walls wouldn't be a terrible idea, though. Walling ourselves off a little bit, especially if we can get the area penned in. Now, there is the problem that people could sort of attack us from above. We could clear out of a lot of these slopes. I would like the ability to block things off. I guess to start off with, I could actually put a drawbridge right here, actually. We don't have to necessarily wall off the outer area. That would be pretty easy to start off with. So that actually sounds pretty good to me. What I will do is use my designate Z, my D to designate. I will use Z to remove upstairs and ramps. And I will clear a few of the ramps right over here. And then we will build a bridge. Although, I think we're going to need to move these rocks. I think they will move it automatically now that I think about it when the bridge starts to come down. Yeah, it should be okay. So build a bridge. B to build, G for bridge, and you can change the size of the bridge, which are UMKH keys. So I like to build a 3x3 like this. Now, the one gotcha is right now that's a retractable bridge. When the bridge is, right now the bridge would be in this sort of, I don't know, deployed state, and it would be this 3x3 area. If you go to retract, then you can attach this to a mechanism, a switch, and when you pull the lever, the bridge will effectively just disappear, which can be pretty potent if it's, say, on top of a pit. And then, you know, anyone who's on top of the bridge at that time just gets dropped into the void. In this particular case, what I want to do is I want to use the W, A, D, X, and S keys to change the direction of the bridge. And what I want to do is having it raise in the upward direction. I'm going to hit W here, so that way when the bridge closes, or when I flip the switch on the bridge, what will happen is it will raise from this end up, and what I'll end up with is a wall blocking everything here. So it's a drawbridge that'll open this way, and then leave everyone outside, and then I can redeploy it and drop it down. I could also have it go down, or sort of south, so then it would raise up. Either way is pretty okay. I'm going to have it go this way. It's going to be fine. So I'll place this bridge here. We will use we'll use nice for it. That's going to be fine. Now, this bridge needs multiple pieces of stone, and it will ask me for each one. If I just hit enter, then I'll have to pick another one, hit enter again and again and again, or I can hit shift enter to say, okay, use nice for all the bits. So now any dwarf with the masonry skill will use that, will build the bridge. Okay, it should say, if I go with my Q, actually it needs architecture first apparently, but then after that it'll be masons. Now, one of the tricks you can do, especially if you're building a lot of walls, let me open up the Lazy Noob Pack and start Dwarf Therapist. That is the wrong button. That's not what I want to do. Quit. I want to run the program here, not play. There we go. So one of the things you can do to speed things along is give everyone the masonry skill. Now, the shortfall of doing this, and I will commit this, the problem with doing this, of course, is that any of your dwarves will then start to use your Mason's Workshop. And sometimes you just want your highest skilled dwarf to use the Mason's Workshop because he'll work a little faster, he'll come out with higher quality goods. So what you can do on this workshop is you can hit the P key for workshop profile. I think it's Shift P actually. And what you can do is you can assign a specific worker to the workshop, which is one option. But what I prefer to do over here is you can specify the minimum skill required to be allowed to use the workshop. And I just like to put it one notch over dabbling. This requires that someone has actual masonry skill before they start to use it. That way, everyone in your base will do things like help to build bridges and walls, which don't really require any skill for it. But then only the actual trained people will actually work in the mason's workshop. So that is a handy little trick, just to give you a little bit more muscle to do that, especially when building walls, because it can be very time consuming, and it helps if you've got, if you've got a big fort, especially with lots of dwarves and a fair amount of idleness, is just shove tons of people at the job, and that's fine. How many people do I have set as architecture? Quite a bit. Let's get the last others. And architecture, especially for this sort of thing, isn't terribly important, so I don't mind assigning a ton of dwarves to that kind of job. I don't know why the expedition leader is set to completely idle. Yeah, no one's needed. I know, people are starting to haul stone over here. Oh, I guess that's what it is. We've done the... No, we still need the architecture step. It looks like people are also bringing stone over, though. And it's possible that the expedition leader has the hauling profile or hauling labor turned off, which seems pretty likely. So, we've got a fair amount of doors. Do we have beds? Build bed? Yeah, we do. Actually, one thing I'm not sure of is if everything here has been turned into bedrooms. I'm going to wait till those beds get deployed and then go and do a pass there. Who is this guy and why is he sitting there? Oh, he's drinking from a barrel, apparently. Okay. Oh, we probably bought a bunch of liquor last time when the traders were here. Okay, beds being deployed. I don't have tables? Yeah. I think we're going to expand our dining room. Let's go into our job manager. That's J and M. Hit Q. We'll get some rock tables. We'll get, I don't know, 10 built. We're going to need a bunch of them. Rock throne and 10 of those as well. Our nobility setup is okay. Yes. We could probably use a bookkeeper soon. But our fortress is still pretty small, and bookkeeper really takes a lot of hours, so I like to dedicate someone to it, like, kind of sort of full-time. And looks like the last of the beds have been deployed. Okay, and something failed to build. Something failed to build because an item was in the way. We can zoom to see it. So there's something interrupting the bridge construction for some reason. Usually that's be a piece of stone or something left behind. And there can sometimes be conflicts over which dwarves get assigned to a job. So sometimes you'll get that sort of thing that happens. And you'll notice here now it says construction suspended. And that means this bridge will never get built because it's been turned off. Now I can toggle it with the S key, right? But the other thing, a quick way to find any jobs that may have been suspended is you can hit the J key to bring up the entire job menu. And from this listing, we can see here that there's a job that's suspended. And we can toggle it, or we can zoom to the building with the B key. And then we can toggle it there. And it should probably work the first time. Usually what happens is just some conflict, two dwarves are sort of fighting over a tile for whatever reason. And, or maybe someone's walking through with a wheelbarrow. And just happen to screw up this sort of logic. Anyway, so usually unsuspending the job once will fix it, and that seems to be what's happening here. So we're going to have a bridge, which is great, but we still need a lever to be able to flip the bridge closed. So I will go and do that. I can build, and I believe it's... Yeah, so B for build, and then it's under the traps and lever category down here, which is capital T. And then you've got lever, which is L. And then you can build it anywhere. Well, levers require mechanisms, and we built some earlier, so we've got that. I'm going to put it in the dining room, since there tends to be dwarves around here, and it's far enough away from the door that hopefully people will be able to flip this switch without freaking out. You don't want the switch right next to the bridge here, because what can happen is, if you have a problem with invaders coming forward, then dwarves could maybe walk up here to try to hit the lever, see the invaders, and then run away in fear. Can be a real problem. So I'm going to stick the lever a little further back. Usually I even put it on a different floor, but this time it should be fine. So we'll use one of the mechanisms to build that, and someone will go ahead and set that up for us. So while that's happening, I will make these bedrooms here, and then I will go and also place our dogs. So I'm just creating bedrooms, but not assigning them, because the dwarves will automatically assign themselves to bedrooms if they need one. So this should also help our people get a lot happier. Did I never turn... Okay, I was going to say, some of these got turned into bedrooms at some point. There we go. So now we've got more. It would also be nice, let's set up some rock chests. Can I not set up a chest out of rock? No, it's got to be metal or wood. I can make rock cabinets, though. So how many bedrooms do I have? Oh, I don't know. Just make 30 of them. We'll use them at some point. It's fine. All right, so I'm going to hit Q again, go to this rope over here, and what I can do is assign the animal to the chain. So I will do that. I will hit A, pick one of our dogs. There, now the dog has been assigned to this chain, and I can go over here, hit assign to this one. And you'll notice this first dog has a symbol next to it that indicate that it's been chained up. So I can go to the next dog in the list and assign it there. So they don't have to be trained, they don't have to be anything like that. It just means that no one will be able to sneak by this little place without being detected, which is the most important thing. 0 idlers, which is nice. I think there's a lot of, placing things in stockpile, chaining animals, detailing walls. Our engraver is still busy smoothing all these walls out. And why is it important to smooth things out? Well, it's not just for you. I mean, it looks nice for us, but also it makes dwarves quite happy to be in a, if a dining room has all smoothed walls and floors, and also for bedrooms, the dwarves will recognize that as being a very fine dining room or a very fine bedroom. And if we start to look at their thoughts, which we can do with the, say, the V key over here, and then we can go to Z for status, and then enter for thoughts and preferences. One of the entries in here, well, fine restraint, one of those ropes, slept in a good bedroom recently, and okay, he hasn't done the dining room thing recently, but that sort of thing will come up as well. Okay, so we've installed our lever, which is great, but now we need to connect the lever to the bridge. So again, we're going to turn to our Q key, going to move over to the lever, and we're going to add a task to this. And to do that, so we hit A, and then we can hit B to link this lever to a bridge. So we will hit B for that. Then we have to select a bridge. We only have one in the list, but we can use plus and minus to change our selection. If we do, it'll automatically move our cursor and also zoom the view if need be to indicate which bridge it is. We hit enter to assign, and then we actually have to choose two mechanisms, one which gets installed in the lever, one that gets installed in the bridge. There we go. And so now a dwarf will come by and hook everything up. And then whenever we want, we can flip this switch, and the bridge will be toggled up and down with that. Now you do have to be a little bit careful, because if anyone is on the bridge when it gets flipped, they will get flung. And also, if anyone is sort of underneath where the bridge will go when it comes down, it will squish them and kill them instantly. In fact, it will completely destroy anything it happens to come down onto. Some people will use this. It's nicknamed the an atom smasher in the game, just because it completely vaporizes everything. If you ever have anything you want to get rid of, you can always just sort of pile it. You can have it dumped in a tile underneath the bridge, and then just have the bridge come down and squish it. It works. It's, a little bit silly, but it does work. Also works to kill, any creature you find unpleasant, such as mares with ludicrous demands and so on. We have a few caged creatures, which we will have to interact with at some point, but we won't worry about them for too long. In fact, caged creatures can also be viewed. You can put them for display in dining rooms. It's a very common thing to do, or people's bedrooms, for example. Dwarves get happy thoughts to see creatures like that. I guess dwarves are cruel and mean. Okay, most of the ramps are gone, and we've got a nice little security area there. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I would still like a proper training environment for my dwarves. Of course, we're still short on things like proper armor, for example. We're still brewing drinks. It's good. We don't have much in the way of plump helmet spawns, but we still should be farming everything, which should be okay. It's interesting. It's winter, and this area is not frozen over yet, whereas this area has been frozen for ages. Alright, so we're still mining, we're still discovering the odd thing here and there, but nothing I would consider. Again, it would be really nice to find some fuel. But barring that, we can just dig deeply and greedily till we hit lava. That's a really good way to set up a mining industry. In fact, I find that much more preferable to using fuel of any sort. So maybe we should get started on that. We've already dug down a fair bit. Now, there are caverns every now and again that we will hit, and caverns come with their own danger. Now, the fact that we're digging off near one edge of the map might actually make it... What is this? Okay. Might actually make it a little bit more likely that we'll miss the caverns altogether, which there are pros and cons to doing that. I don't know. I will keep going with the 3x3 stairway down, and we'll see how far we can get. I'm just gonna go down a bunch and dig that out, and we will get warnings. The game will pause. We will get warnings as soon as we actually hit some sort of cavern, so we can deal with it when that happens. I'm gonna deploy some tables. We're still building our chairs. Get that going there. And again, we're good on food and drink. Yeah, we're in pretty good shape. The biggest thing we have to worry about now is like something like an invasion. I think it's... we're not going to get one quickly. I think it's possible. I don't remember. Oh, we have a Kobold civilization nearby. Because I don't think we've got a very powerful dwarven... Or, sorry, goblin nation nearby, if I recall correctly from the Embark screen. I might be getting confused with a different Embark. But as I recall, I don't think we had an enemy goblin nation nearby. Which is fine. There'll still be threats. There'll still be various invasions. In fact, we could ensure that we get a dwarven one, or an elven one rather, if we just can keep cutting down trees. Because for some reason they get kind of cranky about that. I can build a cage. So B and then J is the cage hotkey down. You can see over here. And put it in the middle of this dining room. Now, so these are cages. These cages are grouped by type, but if I hit X to expand and contract, it will break it down further, and that includes showing me cages that specifically have creatures in them. So I will go ahead and I will cage up. I will install the guinea cock and gander cages in the dining room here, just so that the dwarves have something interesting to look at. So again, X to expand and put in the gander. There we are. And that can include things that you capture with cage traps. So, in fact, it's much more common and much more effective to defend your fortress with traps rather than actual troops. Traps, especially cage traps, are super effective. You can basically catch anything in a cage, to the point where it's almost overpowered. Now, if you're a new player, it's definitely the way to go. And by the way, the way you do it is you hit B to build, and there's capital T for your traps, and then there's a list of traps in here. The cage trap with the C. Again, by far the easiest and most effective thing to do. And what I could do, we could build maybe one row of cage traps right over here, because what could happen is people will come over here, get detected by the dogs, then maybe run away. So we'll do that. I'm going to try not to overdo it with cages, because again, it can be super duper potent. I mean, you can capture like dragons and stuff in cages, and then they're really cool to put on display. So I will do that. You need mechanisms around to install cage traps. You don't actually need cages. You need mechanisms around to put the trap down, and then what will happen, people will then load it with cages, and then you've got to keep a supply of empty cages around. So we'll do that, and another one, and then another one. Mechanisms can be made out of stone. They're very easy to make early on. You don't particularly need any skill for it. You can give anyone the mechanic skill in whatever category that is. I think it's over here. Yeah, mechanics. Anyone can be the mechanics that actually assembles the mechanisms, and it should work totally fine. You know what's happening here? These dogs are being shuffled back and forth. They're being tied up, and then some dwarf is coming back over to lead them to the pasture back and forth. So that's not good. In fact, I don't think the dogs have to be pastured at all, so I will remove, well, especially these first two, because they're supposed to be tied up. Well, apparently we just toggle them out right. We're going to get them out of the pasture. This stray turkey gobbler is not, or it was assigned. We can let the water buffalo, which is currently caged, I believe. Well, these two are caged. Oh, these two are in installed cages, but I'm pretty sure the water buffalo is still running loose. The buck rabbit is an actual pet. Okay, I think that's fine. And then we probably have to reassign the dogs to the, Yeah, to these lists. So they're being carted back and forth, back and forth, back and forth by the dwarves. So we had some really confused dogs. Alright, we struck some micro line. Now, are people digging down? Or are they still wandering around over here? Got some more gems. Yeah. So they're still working on mostly the vertical, or the horizontal lines, and that's okay. So I can see the water buffalo being led out to pasture, which is great. It's actually hungry. The brown down pointing arrow means it's hungry, so definitely needs to be pastured so it can start eating. And hopefully that's what it's doing now. Oh, we detected another thief. So I hit A to get the full list of alerts, and then when I'm on one, I can hit Z to zoom. Oh, right here, another kobold thief. And again, it should just start to run. Yeah, it's being chased by a dog. But other than that, it's just running away. Thieves and snatchers have no interest in fighting. I mean, you can kill them if you want, right? If you have the troops around or whatever, but it's not the end all of the world. In fact, and even here, these dogs here may not be strictly required on the basis that there's a lot of traffic in and out over here, so a lot of these thieves will already be detected, but not necessarily. These traps, we need mechanics to set them up. And I think, see, we only have the one. I'm going to go ahead and assign all these guys to be mechanics so I have lots of people around to set up those traps. Because it's not a particularly skill-based task to do. Spring has arrived. We're getting a new seasonal autosave. We have made it through our first year. Our fortress has survived 1 year. We don't have tons of people in it, though. It would be nice to get a few more migrants. And they start to pile up after a while, but population is only 12. We're also pretty close to the surface. Maybe that's it. They're like, this is not really the dwarfy way. I'm going to designate some up-down stairs. We're actually going to go up as well. Here, higher into the mountain. As high as we can go without sort of, like, erupting out of the top, which is actually what would happen on the next level. You know what? I'm actually going to cancel this level as well. Just to make sure we don't poke out. Because it'll be nice to see what's up there too. So we got our cages over here. This should make people relatively happy. If I go and find, say, this guy who's been in the dining room for a little while. Status. Dined in a legendary dining room recently. So all these happy thoughts really add up and help cancel any negative things that may have occurred. So some flies, some noise lately. Yeah, and the thing is, we've got, you know, all our bedrooms are on this level where there's a lot of activity that can happen, and so noise travels from different things. Constructing things creates noise, combat creates noise, that sort of thing, and that will wake people up and make them unhappy. So ideally, you actually have your bedrooms quite isolated from most of the other activity. Now, the last time I checked, there was still the reputation or the idea that work happening in workshops would generate noise. And I'm pretty sure that, at least, you know, for the longest time, it wasn't the case. The actual work in workshops didn't create noise, but constructing the workshops did, and a few other activities that tended to happen in those environments would generate noise. So a lot of people think you can't have your bedrooms near your workshop, including sort of level above or below. I believe that is not true. Again, things may have changed since the last time I verified all these things, but it was just a myth for a really, really long time that the actual work in a workshop would make noise. But other things really do, so it still pays off to have the bedrooms relatively isolated. And so usually I will have them on the level by themselves and usually a few levels away from other things. Okay, so overall, things are going. We're not paused, no. Why is this guy sleeping here? Like, we have plenty of bedrooms, including ones that haven't been assigned yet. And you can manually assign these, right? So let's say I find, so this bedroom here has not been, it has no owner. So I can hit A to assign this bed, and in this list, anyone who's brown already has a bedroom. So I'll notice a couple of them have not claimed their own bedroom yet. So I can force the issue, right? So that one there, and then get Zazit. Because, you know, they will eventually claim their bedrooms, but sometimes they're slow. So we'll force the issue there. We were building some cabinets, which is B followed by F, apparently, is the cabinet hotkey. No, I don't have any yet. And I still want to build chests. Again, I could build some wooden chests. Because what will happen, people will start storing things in their bedrooms. It'll also make their bedroom value higher, so it'll make them that much happier when they have a nap. Well, we don't have to force the issue. We don't have tons of storage. We might want to expand that. Now, mining definitely makes noise. So that's another thing that can make people kind of unhappy. Now, what I should probably do at this point is really... Well, mining is still one of the things that really ties us up quite a bit. We have... Oh, we only have one guy set up to be the actual miner. Let me turn that one back on. And frankly, if I knew how many picks I have, and I can't really because I don't have accurate numbers for most things, because again, I don't have a bookkeeper. It would be under tools, I thought. There's picks its own category. I can't search on this view. Might be under weapons, but and I can't get a listing of that at all. Yeah, I might have missed it, but it might also be under the weapons category. I'm not sure. But we're going to have to get a bookkeeper at some point so we can get some actual accurate counts of some of these things. Because it might be worth... Well, I guess I can still assign him to the job, and if there's just no picks around, then they won't do anything with it. I don't like the idea of, like, one miner putting down his pick and then one of the useless guys grabbing it. On the other hand, yeah, we need training. I don't know why they keep leaving these boxes all over the place. Oops, let's use the K key. Weapon bin. Another cedar bin. I'm really confused. I guess, well, even then, the stockpiles aren't even full. There's room here and here. They're set up to the maximum number of bins, yeah. I mean, I guess people are busy. More or less. I'm not used to this sort of just stuff being left all over the place. This is actually a place for me to put a cut in this episode, so I'm going to go and do that. And we will continue with some of our digging plans next time. See you, folks. Bye-bye.